Welcome back, everyone. This is my Avengers Infinity War spoiler talk. It's going to be very casual. I don't think I'm going to edit anything out or going to make use of pictures or images this time around. It's going to be very casual because I have a lot to do, and I just want to wing it because I feel this is the only way to talk about this film. It does seem a little all over the place, but so is the movie. So here we go. Spoiler talk. You have been warned. I do have a spoiler-free review on this channel right now. Feel free to check this one out if you don't want to get spoiled. This, however, yeah, spoilers everywhere. You have been warned. I don't even know where to start, but I guess I'm going to start with the intro of the film because holy shit, that was monumental. I mean, the film picks up right where Thor Ragnarok left us with. I mean, the post-credit sequence, we saw Thor, Loki, Hulk, Valkyrie, all those people escaping the destruction of Asgard. They're on their little refugee cruiser when all of a sudden they're being boarded and attacked by this big-ass ship. We already knew it was Thanos. Now, pick up 5 minutes later, probably almost everyone is dead. Which I was wondering, is Valkyrie also dead? Is Korg dead? Is Meek dead? I mean, feel free to let me know, but I think they're all toast. So, Thanos approaches Thor and Loki and he asks for the Tesseract. Of course, Loki stole it. We already knew he stole it. He offers it to Thanos, but he already intends to backstab him. So when he goes like, we have a Hulk, I was like, great. Love me the poetry, because that is exactly what Tony Stark told Loki in the first Avengers film. The Hulk does show up, tries to beat the living shit out of Thanos, but he's no match for him. Like, he bests him, he beats him. Thanos just beats the shit out of Hulk as if he was nothing. I was like, okay, yeah, this is definitely a force to be reckoned with, because the Hulk has always been our secret weapon. In the first Avengers, as soon as the Hulk showed up, the battle was won. Age of Ultron, as soon as the Hulk stepped onto the scene, he beat the shit out of Ultron. This time around, no. It's like a little child. He's no match for Thanos. So I was like, oh my god, I'm loving this. He beats the Hulk unconscious. Heimdall sends him to Earth in order to warn everyone else about the upcoming events about Thanos. And then Heimdall is just killed, stabbed through the heart. I was like, okay, this is our first dead character. They're not messing around. But then Thanos proceeds to choke the life out of Loki. And that was gut-wrenching. Again, love me the poetry that the new Avengers villain straight up kills the main villain from the first Avengers film. But I loved Loki, and it was sad to see him go. But he went full circle. He tried to sacrifice himself for Thor. But to be honest, I did see it coming, because Loki was my #1 choice for people to die. He did. Nonetheless, it was heartbreaking. Banner arrives on Earth, warns Doctor Strange and Wong about Thanos. They recruit Tony Stark, and yeah, Tony Stark still has to tell Bruce Banner that he's no longer working with Steve Rogers. The Avengers are split up, and Banner didn't know that. Thor didn't know that, because they weren't around for that whole Civil War catastrophe that unfolded. Long story short, Thanos' goons show up, they kidnap Doctor Strange, so Tony Stark and Spider-Man with his awesome new Iron Spider suit come after the goons, kill him, save Doctor Strange, so now they want to bring the fight to Thanos. While all this is happening, the Guardians of the Galaxy pick up Thor, who is now the most damaged character in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Seriously, he lost everyone. Remember, Asgard is not a place, it's a people. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're all dead now. Loki is dead. Odin is dead. Frigga is dead. Heimdall is dead. Valkyrie, probably dead, as I said. So Groot and Rocket team up with Thor in order to forge a new weapon that can help kill Thanos. Gamora, who, by the way, is a very, very important character of the story. This movie was almost Guardians 2.5. That's how important Gamora was. The rest of the Guardians, including Gamora, they go after the Collector in order to get their hands on the ether from Thor 2, the Reality Stone, before Thanos can get his hands on the stone. They arrive, they're too late, the Collector is already dead, but I love that scene because Thanos just fucks with everyone. It seems like Gamora is able to just straight up stab him to death, and even Star-Lord goes, well, that was easy. But Thanos just messed with everyone. He altered reality basically in order to get a reaction out of Gamora because she actually started to cry because yeah, she hates him, but in a very perverted way. He is her father. He kidnaps her because she knows the location to the Soul Stone. Which leaves us with Star-Lord, Mantis, and Drax. They team up with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and Iron Man on Titan and plan to lure Thanos into a trap. Now we go all the way to Scotland because Vision and Scarlet Witch, they are now a thing. But their little romance is also being disturbed by folks of the Black Order. Thanos' goons, they do show up because they want to get their hands on the Mind Stone, which is still inside Vision's forehead. And that is one of the coolest fights in the entire film. Scarlet Witch has always been one of my favorite characters, and when she throws down, it is awesome. The way she protects Vision, I loved it. But she's almost overpowered when, boom, we get to see Captain America, Falcon, and Black Widow. They're back. They're essentially war criminals and fugitives, but they save their asses and decide to bring Vision to Wakanda in order to be able to remove the stone from his forehead, yet keep that guy alive. That's their end game. They intend on destroying the stone, but at the same time, they don't want to kill Vision. Makes sense. So they bring him to Wakanda. And I gotta say, what I love about this film is that every single character gets at least one standout moment. Captain America's entrance was awesome. The Guardians have multiple moments. Gamora, once again, one of the most important characters in the film. So they bring him to Wakanda, where T'Challa, of course, accepts them. Shuri tries to remove the stone out of Vision's forehead, but the gates of hell are awaiting them because Thanos' goons are already there, and this leads to easily the greatest field battle, maybe the only field battle we've ever seen in the entire MCU. That was straight up Lord of the Rings. Everyone is important. Black Widow, Captain America, Falcon, War Machine, Bruce Banner sporting the Hulkbuster. They all fight a war alongside T'Challa's and M'Baku's armies against the alien invaders, and I loved that sequence. But what was even better, but what I loved even more was that they flashed to Thanos and Gamora. Their relationship was phenomenal. We get to see flashbacks. We already saw it in the trailer. And Thanos actually loves her. I mean, he always calls her little one, and we get to relate to Thanos because essentially everyone has been saying that. Every single review out there says that this is Thanos' movie, and it absolutely is. He is the main character, and you do understand his motivation. He tries to bring balance to the Force, not to the Force, this is not Star Wars, to the universe. He is convinced that by wiping out 50% of all life in the galaxy, he's able to save it because his planet already suffered the consequences of overpopulation. It was burned out and died. So this is what he does. He actually believes that what he's doing is the right thing. He thinks he's the hero of the story, which makes him so much more relatable and so much cooler than I thought he would be, because Marvel's number one problem is the villain, normally. Normally, most villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe suck. This villain is phenomenal, and he crushes it. Turns out he already captured Nebula and threatens to kill her if Gamora won't take him to the Soul Stone. So she does. She brings him to Gundabad from The Hobbit. No, seriously, it looked like a scenario out of Lord of the Rings. And quite frankly, I was shocked when Red Skull showed up looking like a Nazgul from Lord of the Rings, because he is the keeper of the Soul Stone now. And he tells Thanos the only way you get to carry the Soul Stone in your super awesome gauntlet is by killing someone you love. And Thanos actually kills Gamora. That was the first holy shit moment for me because she dies. I didn't expect any of the Guardians to die in that film. And I was like, holy shit, it happens. She died, and she didn't die among friends. She didn't, as she always wanted to. She didn't die among Peter Quill or her other fellow Guardians. No, she was just thrown into her death. And Thanos, I felt sorry for Thanos because he didn't want to kill her. He just felt that it was necessary to do so. So he cried while killing her. Now he has almost every single stone. He returns to Titan in order to get the stone from Doctor Strange. But everyone is already waiting for him. They lure him into the trap, which leads to hands down the coolest action sequence and fight sequence in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, Mantis, Drax, they all lure Thanos into a trap and try to get the gauntlet off of his hand. And that fight sequence was so incredibly well done, but Star-Lord ruins it upon learning the news of Gamora's passing. And this leads to the ultimate confrontation. That was pivotal. That was monumental. Tony Stark versus Thanos. Because, I mean, let's look at it from Tony Stark's perspective, who is also, by the way, one of the main characters of the film. For example, Captain America, in my opinion, didn't get a lot of screen time, and he was a little bit underutilized. But Tony Stark, very important, because ever since the first Avengers, Tony Stark has been burdened with this phobia about this alien invader called Thanos. Now he finally gets to meet him. Everything that Tony Stark has been doing since the first Avengers was essentially because of Thanos. He went on his crazy post-traumatic building spree in Iron Man 3. He built Ultron because of Thanos. He built Vision because of Thanos. He basically signed the Sokovia Accords and the whole Civil War situation because of Thanos. So now he gets to meet the guy who is responsible for all of his pain. And their fight is great. And I love the fact that Tony Stark is the one character to make Thanos bleed. But naturally, Thanos wins the fight, stabs Tony. I was like, yeah, Tony Stark is dead. But he isn't. Doctor Strange changes his life for the Infinity Stone. He hands over the Time Stone, which is interesting because Doctor Strange, there was one very important scene where Doctor Strange saw every single possible outcome of the battle, and there were like 14,605,000 different outcomes, and only one where our heroes come out on top. So I do believe that Tony Stark is very important for that outcome. This is why he decided to trade the stone for Tony Stark's life. Thanos gets his hands on the stone and returns to Wakanda to get the final stone out of Vision's forehead. Flash to Thor, because Thor, Groot, and Rocket, they're on their little adventure because Thor needs a new weapon. He needs the so-called Stormbreaker. Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones is there. Forges this weapon out of a dying star, and yes, how badass is Thor? He takes the energy, the entire energy of a dying star through the back and chest, and he lives through it. And this is also the most amazing moment for Groot, because Groot actually sacrifices his arm in order to give Thor a handle for his new weapons. And Rocket provides Thor with a new eye, which is hilarious because he kept on stealing eyes throughout Guardians 1 and 2. So they all make it back to Wakanda in the most epic moment of the entire film is when Groot, Rocket, and Thor show up, and Thor just proceeds to beat the shit out of everyone. But Thanos arrives, and this was the most disgusting scene in the film. Scarlet Witch has no other option but to kill Vision. She destroys him by destroying the Infinity Stone in his forehead. But Thanos just goes back in time and kills him anyways by retrieving the stone, by literally ripping it out of his forehead. That is disgusting. But again, I loved it. Everyone is trying to stop him, and even Thor throws his new big-ass axe into his chest, almost killing him. But the last thing Thanos says is, "You should have gone for the head." And he snaps his fingers, wiping out 50% of the life in all of the galaxy. And that includes a lot of our heroes. Bucky is dead. Black Panther is dead. Scarlet Witch, dead. The Falcon, dead. all of the Guardians except for except for Rocket, I'm sorry, except for Rocket, dead. Uh, and all of our heroes, they're basically broken down. They're beat. They lost, which is why this film reminded me so much of Empire Strikes Back. Um, Thanos is finally happy. He watches the sunset, and it's funny if you look at it from his perspective. He did the right thing. He believes that this is how he brought peace to the galaxy. But our heroes, they're all broken down, all sad. Spider-Man's death was particularly sad because he's a kid and he's like, Tony, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Mr. Stark, I'm so sorry. And he just turns into ashes. And then we get to see the post-credit sequence, which is one of the coolest post-credit sequence ever. We get to see Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Everyone around them starts turning into dust. Then Maria Hill also. So Nick Fury realizes, oh, I'm about to turn into dust as well. Better page someone. So he falls, he turns into ashes, but the last thing he does is paging Captain Marvel. We get to see her logo, boom, and that's it. And to be honest, I don't know what to make of that ending. I'm sure that a lot of people are gonna come back. I think the common theory is every single character that was killed by the snap is going to return. Tony will probably go back in time because that is what Doctor Strange saw. But everyone before the snap will probably stay dead, which means Gamora is not going to be in Guardians 3. I really hope they bring her back because Loki's dead. Loki's death did feel earned. Gamora was just a shocker, and I hate to lose her like that, to be honest. Vision, probably dead too. Again, I don't know. What I found interesting are the first set pieces, the first pictures from the set of Avengers 4. They show Robert Downey Jr., the way he looks right now on the set of the very first Avengers, meeting up with the younger version of Captain America from 6 years ago. So I think he's going to go back to the first battle and change up some things. It's probably going to go in a direction of our core heroes because the original Avengers, they all live. They end up sacrificing themselves for the newer generation. This is how I see it. But again, I'm just spitballing, man. I'm just spitballing. Also, I can totally see Nebula giving her soul for Gamora. That could also be the case. But again, just spitballing. This movie left me crushed. It was everything I wanted to see. It was the biggest epic in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm glad I saw it a second time. I loved it so much more the second time around after I knew where all these paths would lead. And it's a masterpiece. There's no other way around it because you do identify with these characters. They have been established throughout the past 10 years. And not every standalone adventure was great. But you understand those characters. And to bring in Thanos as a main character, to relate to him, and to just give us our very first epic within the Marvel Cinematic Universe was mind-blowing. I loved it. I loved every second of this film. I can't wait to see it again. I can't wait to see the sequel. What I'm now interested in is actually Ant-Man and the Wasp, because the only characters that did not show up in the film were Ant-Man, Hawkeye, the Wasp, all these characters. I believe that Ant-Man might also play a pivotal part in undoing stuff that Thanos did. I think it will have to do something with Quantum Realm, stuff that Hank Pym mentioned, a reality where time doesn't exist. I don't know. Again, just spitballing. But what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen next? Do you think everyone's going to stay dead? What's your theory on all of that? Well, please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. If you like what you see and you want to see more, then just subscribe.